this week I want to take you guys along for a productive week on the farm here in the wintertime. I want to walk you through how I run a small business and how we try to be profitable here on our farm, and how I do all of this with 2 kids in tow. Each week is different, but every week in the wintertime really follows the same rhythm, and that is a lot to do with just the chores this time of year, but also the ages that my kids are right now and working with their nap schedules and everything else that I have going on. I have found that when I'm trying to maintain a workflow throughout the week, sticking to a schedule is really important to me, but also for the kids, because it kind of gives me a flow to each of my days where I know exactly what I want to try to get done, and I can kind of navigate through it based off of what I can do when the kids are awake and things that I can set aside to save for during a nap time. Currently, the baby is taking 2 naps a day. So he's taking a morning nap, usually around 9 a.m. for an hour and a half, and then he's taking an afternoon nap. And that afternoon nap is the nap that I can line up the toddler also. So I can get at least a strong hour usually of undisturbed work time, and that's when I'll really sit down to work on my computer. But before the baby goes down for his morning nap, I like to try to get outside with both the kids and just do some of the small chores here. That's because I can get out and do whatever I can to get done, but as soon as the baby is starting to get sleepy, I can take him right back inside and lay him down for that morning nap. This time of year, the only chores that I really have to do is feed the horses a little bit of hay and check their water every day. And then we also still have laying hens and then our cattle. So I have a few calves that I'm feeding grain to every morning. And then for the most part, my dad takes care of the main cattle herd and just feeds them hay every day. So the chore load really does slow way down this time of year. I still enjoy getting outside though and having something to do. Living on a farm, there's always chores to be done no matter the time of year. And it's just a really great way to get us outside in the wintertime, even though chores don't usually take longer than a half hour. I really try to, on these nice days, spend as much time as I can outside. But when you have a baby that is taking 2 naps a day, those wake windows are so short. So getting outside first thing in the morning before his morning nap is really important. And then after his morning nap, we usually spend the afternoon outside as well. Generally, there's more chores to be done. We're helping my dad with something. We always have plenty to keep us busy here on the farm. When the baby goes down for his morning nap, that's when I take the time to make the toddler a good healthy breakfast. Then we can both get something good to eat and kind of get ready for the day. This is also typically the time when I will sit through and kind of plan out my day, so that way I can make sure I'm utilizing all the time that I have, because I'm trying to also run a small business while being a full-time stay-at-home mom. So it's really important to organize and structure my day accordingly so that things don't feel overwhelming, or so it doesn't feel like I'm working all the time. When running a small business while you're also a stay-at-home mom, you're doing a lot of your work in just little pockets of time throughout the day, whereas before I would sit down and kind of crank out all of my work first thing, and then I would go outside and do all of my farm stuff. When you have children, you definitely have to change the way that you're going about your work schedule. But that's one thing I love about farm life, is this all really works well with kids. There's just so much that I can do while the kids are with me. Okay, pour it in.
It's white. It's really white.
This week, we have a few farm things that we're wanting to do. We have a few things we want to do while we're taking advantage of the dry weather here, and things just aren't so sloppy and muddy like they typically are here in Missouri this time of year. It hasn't been all that cold, but it has been dry. So there's a few things we want to take advantage of while the ground is still dry. We need to clean up a little bit in one of our lots where we're feeding cattle out. And then we also need to haul some hay. So I plan to kind of help my dad with that today once the baby wakes up from his morning nap. And then I also ship meat boxes directly from my farm every other week. So this week is shipping week, and I have quite a few orders to get out this week. So during my afternoon nap time, I want to sit down and kind of get lined out so that way this evening I can get a lot of my meat boxes prepped and ready for shipping tomorrow.
As you guys know, we just moved into this new home on our farm over the summertime. So we have been working hard on a lot of various home projects this winter, just trying to make this space feel more like home. And I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, and that is FlexiSpot. I chose their Japanese Joinery Bed. I especially like this bed with the headboard because it creates a calm and clean bedroom aesthetic, which is exactly what I'm looking for in my simple home. This bed has 10.2 inches of clearance underneath, which creates a very functional storage option. And after adding the mattress, the height still feels very comfortable and low profile. The Japanese Joinery Bed is very firm and stable because of the traditional woodworking method where it has interlocking joints that is held together through tension and compression. So that creates a very sturdy, quiet, and tight structure that won't loosen over time, like conventional bed frames that are held together with screws. Other beds become creaky and unstable. The slats are secured with Velcro, so they stay in place and reduce noise. The inward and recessed legs sit firmly against the wall, minimizing squeaks and providing stability. This bed is also made with rubber wood, which is a hard wood that is not easily damaged due to its hardness and strength. It is finished with a moisture and scratch resistant coating, so it is protected from mold and scratches. There are several customizable options on the FlexiSpot website, which is easy to browse to make sure you're able to get exactly what you want, with options like headboard, nightstands, electronic adjustable backrests, and mattresses for a fully personalized setup. All orders ship within 1 to 2 days and will arrive to you within 3 to 5 days, so there's no waiting required. Click the link below to explore the FlexiSpot website for yourself. FlexiSpot is offering a big sale right now. You can get up to 65% off, and then viewers can use my code NHFC for an additional $20 off the Kana Japanese Joinery Bed or U3 Hybrid Mattresses. I will place the links to these discounts exclusively for you in the description box below.
Now that the baby is up from his morning nap, we're gonna get back outside, and I gotta finish a few more chores that I didn't get done this morning before I needed to come inside to lay him down. This time of year, the laying hens spend so much more time inside their coop than they do during the summertime. I let them out every day to free range, but they're in their coop more just because of the shorter daylight hours. And when the weather is really nasty, they just don't like to come outside. So I often have to clean out their coop a lot more this time of year. I always notice when my eggs start to get dirty when I collect them is when I need to go ahead and clean out and refreshen up the bedding in their coop. So that's what I'm going ahead to do here this morning. And then I always make sure to take the old bedding with their poop in it out to the garden for our composting. I find this time of year to be very relaxing because the chore load is just so light compared to the summertime that I'm not trying to get everything done in the daylight hours like I am during the summertime when there's just so much to do. In the wintertime, I'm usually looking for more to do just to spend some time outside, especially on these days when it's so nice and sunny. We have been really lucky in January so far. We've had a lot of very just sunny and not overly cold days. So that makes it really easy to get the kids to come outside and just spend as much time as we possibly can outdoors in between nap times and before it gets dark at 5 o'clock. I really believe that it is just so good for my mental health and also the kids to just spend as much time outside every day, even when it's a little bit colder. So I think that's why wintertime can feel so long sometimes, is because we just spend too much time inside. But that's why I really focus every day when the weather is decent enough. So there's a lot of days when the weather isn't that great, but I still prioritize just getting outside for a pretty good block of time in the middle of the day. So for us, that's usually around 11 a.m. when the baby wakes up from the morning nap all the way to about 2 o'clock before they need to take their afternoon nap. Having chores, things to do, helping my dad really gives us a reason to get out. And a lot of times the kids are just sort of around in the background in between it all. So I think that is kind of my favorite thing about farm life, is it just forces you to spend daylight hours outside. After finishing a few chores and then helping my dad get through the gate so that we could clean out by our feed bunk, it was time to get back inside, eat a quick lunch, and get the kids down for the afternoon nap, so that way I could spend a little time printing my shipping labels and just prepping for shipping meat boxes this week. So I actually plan to do that this evening when my husband can watch the kids, so I can prep all of the boxes ahead of time, which is super helpful when planning my week and just trying to get a lot of things done. Being able to do things ahead of time and when I have the chance really helps. Our goal is to be profitable on our farm. So we raise meat chickens throughout the summer months and we have beef cattle all year long. And our big goal is to try to keep our big walk-in freezers stocked with fresh meat from the farm so that I can maintain orders throughout the winter months and also through the summer months at our farmers market. And we're still learning on inventory and how to reach our customers. This is a part of the business that we're really trying to focus on. So this is something that I do every other week, as I ship out boxes directly from our farm to customers via UPS. I do all of this myself. So I manage my website, I respond to emails, and I put the boxes together and take them to UPS. So that does take up a lot of time, but it is something I really enjoy doing. I love being able to supply other families with meat that we raise here on our farm. I find a lot of value in this work, even though it does take a lot of time. I know it's an important step for our farm in maintaining a profitable business. I generally structure my week to only work Monday through Thursday on our business. So that way, Friday, I can really just spend the time with the kids and do stay-at-home mom things. Now, on a farm, there's always chores every day of the week to be done, and that's just part of farm life. You get so used to that when you're a farmer. It doesn't even feel like work. You just do your chores every day. But for the business side of things, maintaining this YouTube channel, I try to just work Monday through Thursday during my daytime hours with the kids, try to record some things throughout the day or work on business tasks that I can do during their nap times. And that really helps us have a very clear cut, this is what I'm doing this week, this is my work schedule. So it doesn't feel like I'm working all of the time. So that way I can maintain my household duties, my small business duties, and everything else on a very manageable schedule. So this morning I got some pizza dough prepped for dinner tonight, and then when the baby woke up from his morning nap, we had to go out and help my dad load some hay and haul hay from our hay barn. So I typically load the kids up in the truck and do all of the driving. Our hay barn is on the farm. It's just easier to get to it by the county road. And then we truck the hay back through the pasture and unload it where we're feeding cattle for the winter time. So this is something we do throughout the winter months. As the ground is dry, we try to just keep our hay pile nice and stocked up back by the cattle. So that way when the ground gets muddy, we don't have to drive across the fields to make sure we have plenty of hay for feeding. We have been loving our pork that we raised all summer long and then harvested this fall. We finally were able to go get it picked up from the processor. So we have been making so many sausage, pork chops, pork steaks, everything that we actually think we need to start limiting ourselves so that way we can have it for the whole year until we do pigs again next summer. But one thing on my recipe rotation a lot during the summertime is sourdough pizza. I love to be able to just prep the crust and then use all of the fresh vegetables from the garden to make a really good loaded pizza. But I also love doing this recipe in the winter months with some vegetables that we have on hand and using our fresh pork sausage. It's just such an easy meal that feels so wholesome and homemade. This crust makes 4 pizza crusts, so usually I make 2 for pizza night and then I freeze 2. And I found that you can just freeze them in a ball like this and then pull them out the morning of pizza night and they can do that last rise and be ready for pizzas that evening. I have tried par baking the crust, but I guess we're just not very careful in our freezer and they always get cracked or broken by the time I actually use them. So the easiest thing to do is to just prep them like this, throw them in a plastic bag and just pull them out the morning of pizza night. But this is definitely one of my favorite go-to recipes. It's easy to make. I always have easy leftovers for lunch the next day, and you can kind of just use whatever you have on hand to make your pizzas. The weeks definitely get busy when you have small children, you're trying to maintain a household, and also add in a small business on top of it all. I find that my weeks are so busy, but with a little bit of planning and scheduling, I can generally get done what I want to get done within that week. It is the only thing that I'm focusing on. So my business, my kids, I don't have to go to an outside job. I rarely ever leave the farm. So I put all of my time and effort into what I'm doing. It's a lifestyle that I really enjoy, and I have just been able to find some practical ways over the years of doing it to make it feel enjoyable and not so overwhelming. Thank you so much for following along for another week on my small farm. I hope you enjoyed this video. Maybe you were able to learn something. I look forward to sharing more with you next week.